Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am Justice, as always joined by Terror Master, and it is Friday, so that means it is now time for the best case scenario. Yesterday we went over the worst case for Tania. Today we're going to look at what good Amazonas cards and support cards look like. I am excited for this. This is going to be much more interesting to talk about. Let's dive right in.
So much more, yeah.
All right, so we have Amazonas Baby Tiger to start. Last time we had Amazonas Tiger, but now we have the little baby. And baby, surprisingly, actually much more useful than regular tiger. Because its name becomes Amazonas Tiger while it's on the field or the graveyard. Very important. The important part is that if you normal or special summon an Amazonas monster while Baby Tiger is either in your hand or graveyard, you can special summon it. So that already gives you more things on the field to use, which is great. And it also gains 100 attack for each Amazonas card in your graveyard. That is monsters, spells, and traps. Not super relevant since it's only starting at 500. The important part is that it special summons itself, so you can immediately tribute it off or do other things with it.
Yes. Yeah, the constant recursion, the fact that it's, not once per duel or anything like that, is very good. It's essentially an extra body multiple times per duel, like an average speed duel. You could probably use this effect like 3 times pretty easily if you opened it. So that's just by itself, just having the extra body, even if it's just extra defense, is probably enough. And then you'll see it combines with a lot of cards that we have. So it's actually pretty good. Yep. All right. Speaking of a pretty good Amazonas cards, we've got Amazonas Princess. Now its name becomes Amazonas Queen, which is our next card. So be patient. You'll see it. Field or in graveyard. If it's normal or special, you can add an Amazonas spell trap from your deck to your hand. You'll see there are some of those we're going to talk about. And you can, it's a hard once per turn. That's fine. The search, sure. When it declares an attack, you can send one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Any other card that you have in your hand or control to the graveyard. And you special summon an Amazonas monster from your deck in defense mode. That's right. Special summoning from deck. Power creep confirmed.
And what might you want to send? I don't know. How about that Baby Tiger that you just special summoned?
Yeah, there you go. Look at that synergy already pointing it out. Yeah.
And speaking of synergy, what might we want to summon from the deck in defense position? Oh, how about Amazonas Queen? Hey, she's already a 1 tribute 2400, which is, normal stat line.
Yeah.
But yeah, very simple effect. Amazonas monsters you control can't be destroyed by battle.
Yep.
Very simple. So Princess declares an attack, summons Queen, can't be destroyed by battle. Now you have Queen in play.
Yep, and the Queen also can't be disturbed by battle. So, it can... You said 2400 is a normal stat line for a 1 tribute monster? Well, yeah, but Queen is better than all those other ones in a direct head-to-head matchup because it beats them all in a direct battle. So, there you go.
Kaiser Glider.
Yep. I mean, yeah, even if Kaiser Glider does get destroyed by Queen and sends Queen back to your hand, as long as you have the Princess, well, guess what? Summon another one.
I forgot what Kaiser Glider does. It's okay. Moving on.
Yeah. Okay. Great. You're right. I did forget. Don't worry about it. This is why we're Yu-Gi-Oh players. We read, even when we read cards, we forget that we read them. We have to act like we didn't read them. All right. Amazonas Spiritualist. If it's in your hand or graveyard. Now, one thing I'll say real quick here. I like about some of these effects is that they trigger in multiple places. So making an effect less conditional is something that, we need to learn to do with skills. But it is something that makes the card better in general. So, yeah, hand or graveyard, targeted Amazonas card you control. Again, not monster card, so less conditional. Accept a copy of itself, return it to the hand, and if you do, it special summons itself. But you can't summon the monsters from the extra deck, except Amazonas monsters, which is fine. If you're playing an Amazonas deck, you have this, you're probably not trying to go into the extra deck for anything else. And then if it's special summoned, which, by its own effect, it literally special summons, you add a polymerization from your deck to your hand. So, better Blazeman? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. Hard once per turn, which is fine. So, yep. And if you look down on the screen, we do have extra deck monsters. We will read those.
We'll get to those.
But,
all right, so our next card is the rare card that's in both best and worst case. It was in worst, it's reprint. It's in best because it's still actually just good.
Yes.
So here it is. I'm just going to move on to the next card. We've talked about
it.
So we have Amazonas War Chief. It is a tribute monster. It is level 5, 1900 with 0 defense, which doesn't sound good. However, if you control no monsters or only Amazonas monsters, you can special summon it. So that whole thing about having distributed, no, you really don't.
Really
Plus,
never
if
do.
it,
Yeah.
yeah. If it is normal special summoned, you can set an Amazoness spell or trap or a polymerization directly from your deck, but you can only attack with Amazoness monsters for the rest of this turn. So, like with the other ones we talked about, not really restriction if you're playing an Amazoness deck, because those are all of your monsters. So,
Right.
or most of them anyway, so you're probably fine.
Yeah. And these two poly searchers are good because it encourages playing polymerization, playing fusion monsters, because you have a way to summon your fusion monsters without going neg as much. And also, these monsters are just generally better than Blazeman, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There you go. All right, moving on. It's time to get a little bit generic with the monsters. We got Gigantes. We already have the Rock Spirit in Speed Duels, but we do not have Gigantes. It is the better version of Rock Spirit, so why not? You basically banish Earth monsters, same as Rock Spirit, from your graveyard to special summon it, and if it's destroyed by battle, it becomes a Heavy Storm effect, which I think is really cool.
Yes. Yeah, I like it. Your opponent has, like their back row, but they have a rocket in play. Good. Crash it into rocket. Destroyed. Back row gone. Easy.
Yep. Combine this with Ancient Gears. You have Ancient Gear monsters in your graveyard. Okay, banish one, summon Gigantes, have it crash into something, get destroyed by battle, and you pop your Gear Town. Cool.
Yeah.
If only we had good Gear Town targets, but
Yeah, well, we'll get there eventually, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, now we have Koakimeru Bergzak. Yeah, it's destroyed during end phase unless you reveal Iron. We don't have, but that's okay, because you can also just reveal a warrior type, which is why it fits here, because we have warriors. It is level 4, 2000 attack with an actual good effect, which if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, it can attack again. And not just the monster, it can attack directly.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
Yeah, power creep.
Yeah, being able to attack directly with the second attack is huge, and that is what actually makes this card good as an aggressive card. So yeah, I think we need cards like this that actually threaten, battle damage. Would be nice. All right, we got Koakimeru War Arms, another Koakimeru, again same condition. So Iron Core, which we don't have it in here. Or reveal a warrior monster. So Amazoness are all warriors, fits. Once per turn, you can target level 3 or lower warrior type monster in your graveyard. So if you remember, a lot of the Amazoness monsters, not a lot, but a few of them we talked about are level 3 or lower warriors. So Princess, Virtualist, right? You equip those to this card, and it gains attack equal to half the combined attack of the monsters equipped to it by its effect. So once per turn. So you can theoretically make this bigger every single turn until your zones are full. And then it protects itself by destroying the equipped monsters instead. So, not bad.
Yeah, and this is the kind of card, it's neat, right? It's not, obviously, it's not OP, it's not insane, but, it could be cool. And we need some cards like that, too.
Yep. Speaking of level 3 or lower warriors.
Oh, hey, it's level 3 lower warrior. Marauding Captain. Everyone remember Marauding Captain? Marauding Captain's fun.
Marauding Captain's fun.
Yeah. So when it's normal summoned, special summon a level 4 lower warrior, or not warrior, why did I say warrior? Level 4 lower monster from your hand, so it is actually kind of generic. It does encourage aggressive strategies. Please don't just use it for the Marauding Captain lock. That's first effect. That's not what we're here for. That's the last resort. It is not the game plan. Please, thank you. Use it for the aggression it is meant for.
Yes. Yeah. The Marauding Captain lock is obviously a concern, but I think at this point, plus in this imaginary universe we live in where we're introducing all our best case scenarios at the same time, there is plenty of removal, even if that lock does happen, to kind of get past it fairly easily.
Yeah.
So it's not really an issue if all the best case cards were to be introduced. So yeah, it's not anything to worry about. But again, yeah, like Justice said, just use it aggressively as it was meant to be. Yeah. Speaking of level 3 lower warriors, it's Rookie Warrior Lady. This is a retrain of Swordswoman or DD Warrior Lady. It's got to be DD Warrior Lady. Okay. When attack is declared involving your other warrior monster, an opponent's face-up monster, a little bit restrictive, but it's good. You can send this card from hand or field to the graveyard. What? Hand trap? That's impossible. The opponent's monster loses attack equal to its original attack until the end of this turn. So it's like Honest for Earth. No, not for Earth. For warrior monsters. Sorry. It's like honest for warrior monsters, which is pretty cool. And then it also has a graveyard effect. You banish from your graveyard, you target an earth warrior monster in your graveyard, and you recycle it. So the graveyard effect is there, but it's not like super OP, right? It's just a recycle, which is fine. And the honest effect is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. And honestly, this effect even becomes a little bit worse because phase 2. So you can't, like, attack, use Rookie Warrior Lady to destroy, and then main phase 2 use her graveyard effect to, bring something back to hand, right? You have to wait.
Right.
So it actually even balances it out for speed, in a way.
Yeah, no, yeah, without main phase 2, a card like this does get slightly more balanced. Yeah, you're right. I think we need more stuff like this because, like, back row hate is already, like, very easy to come by in speed duels, so a little bit of a hand trap that only goes with, like, specific decks is probably fine to have at this point.
Yeah.
All right, Arch Amazoness Call. I think this is your card. I almost stole it.
Wow. Thief. Alright, so it is a quick play spell. You can take any Amazoness card from your deck, except Call, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. So for those graveyard effects you might want, you can do that, or you can just add it to your hand. And during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target an Amazoness you control, and then it can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, but it is the only monster that can attack for you that turn. So yeah, pretty cool. Obviously, just Searcher is very, very good.
Yes.
And, you have fun plays you can make with this. You can just take something like big, like Queen, and just run over stuff. You can take Swordswoman and try to combo it with like Wabaku or something to, run into all your opponent's monsters and deal damage that way. Whatever it is you want to do, it's good. It just gives consistency to the deck, which is nice.
Right. Also, it says Amazoness card. Again, less restrictive, not just monster. So all the other Amazoness spells and traps we talk about from now on are also searchable with this, which is really cool.
Yep.
Speaking of Amazoness spells, we have Amazoness Secret Arts. Fusion, summon one Amazoness fusion monster from your extra deck. Using monster from hand for the fusion material. It's just polymerization, the same text. Yes. But only for Amazoness fusion monsters. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard. And, once if you fusion summon an Amazoness monster. This turn, you can also send an Amazoness monster from your extra deck to the graveyard as material. Here's where it's better than Poly, right? Is if it's in your graveyard, you banish one copy of Secret Arts from your graveyard, and that's the reason we have 2 in here. So you would theoretically banish that one, and then use your second copy, because that first one's banished effect now lets you use your extra deck as material for your actual fusion summon that you want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cool card.
Yeah, it is. I like it. I especially like the synergy of, like, the first one is a normal poly, but then the second one is better because of the first one.
Right. And they're both still quick play, so still better than poly.
Right, yeah, still better than poly. It's true. Yeah, you can put your fusion materials out on the board and just chill.
Yeah.
All right.
Our next card is kind of like an old school iconic warrior support card, which is a Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. First off, amazing name.
Yeah.
Second off, it's an equip that gives 300 attack, which is nothing crazy by itself. But if it's in your graveyard, you can banish 2 warriors to add it back to your hand. So it just keeps recurring. So you can use it for cost for stuff if you want to. The attack boost is obviously not insane. But there's just different ways to make use of this card. So like that flexibility is what makes it cool.
Right. Just an example, this may not be the best way, but like Princess says, send one other card you have to the graveyard, right? So here, right there, send one other card to the graveyard. So, you can send your Phoenix Blade, and then a couple turns later, you have another copy of Princess, you want to activate that one. Well, at this point, if your graveyard's filled up, great, get your Phoenix Blade back, send that one again. So it's fine, it works like that. We were put in Poly because Poly is literally on the card text of like Spiritualist and War Chief. So yeah, gotta have that in there. The deck, we're still trying to make these decks like function as like a pre-constructed duel type thing, right? So
yeah,
that's the purpose of that. But I'll take Onslaught. Oh, I got a good one. All right. Once per turn during the battle phase, you can special summon Amazon's monster from your hand, and if you do, it gains 500 attack until the end of this turn. I know from playing Duel Links that this card was frequently used with Queen to make just drop a 2900 in the battle step as a surprise. And then there's also this good part where if after damage calculation, if your Amazon's monster battled an opponent's monster, So Queen, which can't be destroyed by battle, if it battles a monster while you have this face up, you just banish that opponent's monster, and your Queen didn't die because, that's her effect.
Yep.
And then if this card is destroyed, you target the Amazon monster in your graveyard, and you special summon it. So it also has an effect when the opponent finally outs it, and their out to it is destroying it.
Yeah, I will say this. This is the best case scenario for someone who wants to play Amazonas. For playing against Amazonas, this card is annoying as.
Yeah.
It's actually so powerful.
It is. But
yeah.
But I do think for the deck to be competitive with all the other cards we've introduced so far in the best case scenarios, and that we're going to later,
right.
It might be necessary. So
yeah, probably.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Our next trap is Amazonas Willpower. It's called the Haunted for Amazonas. That was it.
That's it. I mean, yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, you're right. It literally reads just like Call the Haunted, and
yeah. I mean, the only other thing is that it cannot change its battle position and must attack if able, so it's actually kind of worse than Call. But it becomes better for Amazonas because it has Amazonas in the name and is therefore searchable.
Yeah.
So that's right.
Yeah. I will also say for anyone who played like Call of the Haunted back in classic Yu-Gi-Oh, right? So like, pre-2014 or whenever it got power crept out of being playable. Call of the Haunted was a good card. So
yeah.
Having a Call of the Haunted in your Amazonas deck is having a good card in your Amazonas deck. That's all.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We've got Expendable Die. Now, I found this card. I will say Drake helped. We found this card while literally just searching for warrior support, like generic warrior support. And this is really cool because the tribute one warrior monster, so it has a cost. And then target a card on the field. Destroy it. And if you do, draw one card. So it has a cost. You use up the trap card, but it also lets you destroy one card, but then it also replaces itself by letting you draw a card. I think this is a very balanced, very fair card, but it's also still useful.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. So this is very good card design, in my opinion. So more cards like this would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then we have Fusion Reserves. So as we mentioned, and we're about to get into, there are some cool Amazonas fusions. So this is going to help make it a little bit easier to summon them. You reveal a fusion monster. Add one of the fusion materials whose name is specifically listed on that card from your deck to your hand. So no, you cannot add a fusion sub from this card. Thank you. Then you can add a polymerization from your graveyard to your hand.
Yes.
So this kind of allows you, all right, you've already fusion summoned once, you have a poly in the grave. Well, now you can do it again.
Yeah.
And you switch for a material, so it's more consistent. Right.
Yep. And synergy here specifically is you have multiple poly searchers in this deck, right? So you have very good access to poly, right? Especially because you can search for the poly searchers. So a lot of searching going on here.
Yes.
So it's very likely that you use polymerization pretty early on if you want to. And if you've done that, Fusion Reserve now not only adds you an Amazonas card that's a fusion material, but also gets your poly back. So this is a really good card for any kind of fusion era of Yu-Gi-Oh! This should exist. I don't know why it doesn't already, but that's why we have it here.
Yep.
All right, it's fusion time. As we promised. So we're going to read you some Amazonas fusions. First, we got Amazonas Augusta. One Amazonas fusion monster plus one Amazonas monster. Now, this is extremely relevant, specifically with Secret Arts. Because if you remember, Secret Arts said that if you ban a Secret Arts from the graveyard, a fusion summon that turn, you can use extra deck monsters as materials. This specifically would love that.
Yes.
Yeah, so your opponent cannot target other Amazonas cards you control or card effects. Also, those cards cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Whatever, it protects your other Amazonas. That's not really good, but the rest of it is really good. So if it's fusion summoned using Empress or Queen as material, so Queen we already talked about, Empress is another fusion we will talk about. It can make a second attack during each battle phase. A 3200 that can attack twice is really good, but there's more. If it's fusion summoned, you can special summon an Amazonas monster from your deck. So it pushes even more damage onto the field immediately when it's fusion summoned.
Yep.
So it's just a very, very aggressive card. And it being a fusion boss monster, being this aggressive of a card, I think is exactly what we need.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about Amazoness Empress. So she's a fusion of Amazoness Queen and any other Amazon monster. Again, other Amazoness cards you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. She does not protect herself, but does protect the others. If your Amazoness monster attacks defense position monster, inflict piercing. If this face-up fusion summoned card, if it has been summoned, is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect while its owner controls it, which is also interesting, so swapping it does not get the effect.
Yeah.
You can special summon Amazoness Queen from your hand, deck, or graveyard. There you go. Replaces herself. Queen.
Yep. Which is really good, right? Because it's like, okay, your opponent outed this, now you have a monster that can be destroyed by battle to replace it. Like that's a really strong boss monster. It's worthy of being called a boss monster, which is good to have. And yeah, the piercing damage is obviously also nice. And I want to note that it doesn't have, if it's a card effect, it's not just destruction. It could be a bounce. It could be, banish, right? Yeah. It just, if it leaves the field because of a card effect, it triggers, which is really cool and something would be unique to speed duels. So, all right, we've got Amazoness Pet Liger. That's right, Liger. That's a lion and a tiger. I got tiger. We got tiger plus one Amazoness monster, any monster. So another thing you notice about these fusions is that they're very flexible. In the second material, there's always one material that's kind of specific, and there's one that's just very flexible. So one's for battle. If it attacks during damage count, and gains 500. So, it's basically a 3000 monster if it's attacking. So, cool. And if your Amazoness monster attacked an opponent's monster, after damage calculation, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses the 800 attack. So, combines very good with something like Queen, right? Which can attack into something and not die. And then if you have Liger, you're like, oh, that thing that my Queen just attacked into, well, now it's weaker. So, it also prevents your opponent from attacking other Amazoness monsters you control, which is always like whatever. It's there.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's just, it kind of combines, Tiger with some other Amazon specs and just makes it better, right?
Yeah.
So, cool.
Yep. It's basically just an attack point thing, which, early Yu-Gi-Oh, if you were to believe the anime, was all about those attack points. So, that's how it should be.
All right. But if you thought Pet Liger was now meet Amazoness Pet Liger King!
This art is cool, by the way.
It is very cool art. Also, speaking of generic materials, it needs one level 5 or higher Amazoness monster, plus any other Amazoness monster. So it doesn't even need Tiger or anything like that.
Yeah.
So your opponent's monsters cannot attack any monsters except this one, so it kind of takes that Amazoness battle protection and even ups it, because now it protects even non-Amazoness monsters from being attacked.
Yeah.
You can target an Amazoness card you control and one Amazoness warrior monster in your graveyard. Destroy the card on the field and special summon the other one from the grave. So that's cool. If you could just summon a baby tiger and then swap it out for any warrior Amazoness in the graveyard, which is really nice.
Yes.
If you do, Pet Liger King cannot attack this turn. But that sometimes is fine, right? Like if you're summoning something real big, like let's say one of your other fusion summoned Amazonesses that got destroyed and now they're in the graveyard, you can bring them back.
Yep. And
so,
yeah. It just says that this card cannot attack, right? So whatever you bring back can still attack. Yes. So it's not completely taking away your battle phase, which is cool.
Yep. This is a very cool card. It's not insane, but it clearly has uses to be very good. And I like it.
Yeah. No, I like all these fusions. The thing you mentioned about Baby Tiger just made me think that if the second half of all these fusions is generic, that can all just be Baby Tiger.
Yes. So and then it keeps going back, so you can use it again.
Yes. So once you have that Baby Tiger set up, it's essentially saying, oh yeah, you don't neg on fusion summoning anymore. I'm here for that. Don't worry. Right. So that is actually really cool.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So again, Amazoness, they're maybe one of the simplest decks, other than something like Onslaught, which has a somewhat complex effect and very strong one at that. But other than that, I think it's a fairly simple deck compared to Vampires, which have a lot of walls of text to read.
Yeah.
But Amazonas is fairly simple, fairly straightforward. Like, it's kind of a beatdown deck that just your monsters that you beat down would just have a little extra protection to them, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, it's simple, it's nice. It just summon big monster attack, and I think a lot of people are into that kind of a deck. So,
but like that, but this is a much more fun way of summoning big monster attack, right? It just shows there are ways to do that are still interesting and like fun to play.
Right.
You know, and that's still that you can still do interesting things with your deck. You have decisions to make. You have cool effects, even though essentially yes, it's a big monster attack.
Yeah.
And also for those of you who are like, oh my god, some of those Amazon fusions would be absolutely insane. What are you two thinking? This is your weekly reminder to consider our best case scenarios together, not just as include this one deck with current speed dual card pool and that's it. Right. Yes, then obviously it would be insane.
Yes.
But consider all of the best case scenarios all coming at once, and then it all makes a lot more sense.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's like I said, right? Like, normally Marauding Captain could be annoying, but we have enough removal in our others, like, best cases for that to not be an issue at all. Right. And if you haven't seen enough removal, I promise you'll see more in the weeks to come. Yeah, speaking of, that's a good transition. Any final thoughts on Amazonas?
No, I think that was kind of it. Right. It has a lot of fun tools. I think we've come up with a lot of cool cards here that definitely make it strong, but not busted compared to our other best case scenarios. So I think this is what a really best case scenario would look like.
Yeah, no, it's another archetype that is in a fusion era that can actually summon fusion monsters that are cool. So let's do that.
Yes, agreed. All right, so that will wrap it up for us for today. Let us know in the comments down below, as always, about these cards. What Amazonas cards, or Tania cards, I guess, would you like to see included? Are there any here that you haven't thought of that you think are cool? Are there any that we didn't think of that you want to see? Do let us know. But that will do it for us for today. So until next time, as always, friends, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Good luck in all of your games. And we will see you soon.